If you're tired of people telling you to niche down with your content, but then they don't provide you with any actionable advice on how to do it, then you're in the right place. Because in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the two different options when it comes to niching down as a content creator. And I'm going to be providing you with proven systems to ensure you walk away from this video with crystal clear clarity on the type of content you should create and which direction you should go with your personal brand. So in the first half of this video, we're going to focus on the traditional way of niching down. So this is for those of you who want to be known for something specific and aim to provide a particular service or product to the market. So for example, if you're a freelance graphic designer and your goal with creating content is to land more clients. The second part of this video is for those of you wanting to build a unique personal brand based on your own interests. So for example, if you want to become more of a lifestyle influencer or be known for your ideas and personality rather than what you do. As we go through the video, you'll have a better understanding of the differences and pros and cons of each. So with that said, let's kick things off with niching down the traditional way. When you try to please everyone, you end up pleasing no one. Marie Folio. So when starting your journey as a content creator, one of the most important decisions you'll make is choosing your niche. It influences the style of your content, your target audience, and the overall feel of your brand. And when choosing a niche, there are so many factors to consider, but the three key questions that you should ask yourself before making any decision are the following. So firstly, is it a growing market? Can I easily find my target audience? And do I have any interest or skills in the niche? So let's break down these three questions in relation to my niche, which is content creation. So firstly, is content creation a growing market? And well, if we do a quick Google search, you'll see that the creator economy is expected to grow by at least 25% in the next few years. So yes, this is a growing market. And it's so important to go after a niche that is growing because this will make it so much easier for you to not only establish yourself, but to also scale your content and your brand. And some examples of growing niches could be e-learning and online courses, artificial intelligence, health and fitness, plant-based or vegan information, and etc. But moving on, can I easily find my target audience? And this question is super important to answer because if it's difficult to get our content in front of our target audience, it's going to be even harder for us to grow our brands and sell our products or services. So to research this, we can check places like YouTube or Facebook to see if there are online communities where our target market is gathering. So for example, a quick search for content creation will show hundreds of Facebook groups where creators are gathering and YouTube videos with millions of views. So yes, my target audience can easily be found. Now lastly, do I have any interests or skills in the niche? And this question is personal and depends on your own interests and accomplishments, but in my case, I have a background in art and I've been a full-time photographer for over 5 years. So content creation has always interested me, and for that reason, this is also a yes for me. So now, I want you to take the niche that's in your mind and run it through these three questions, and once you've ticked all of these boxes, we're now going to cover how to stand out within this niche. Because I'm guessing that the niche you're thinking of is probably oversaturated, so we need to be strategic when entering a crowded market. And in my opinion, the best way to stand out in a saturated niche when you're first starting out is by going a layer deeper and specializing. So for example, instead of creating general fitness content, you could create content branded as fitness for over 50s or weight loss for stay-at-home dads. By narrowing your audience, you'll be able to address a more specific person, and this will then make it easier for you to become the recognized expert in that field. Like seriously, just think about it. Imagine you were a busy working dad struggling to lose weight, and then you came across a creator who was creating content that's specifically speaking to you. How much more would that content resonate with you? But another example could be, instead of creating general content on productivity, you could create content branded productivity hacks for stay-at-home mums or productivity hacks to help university students study faster. And the biggest pro of niching down the traditional way is that it makes it a lot easier for you to become a known expert in your field. And it also makes it easier for you to monetize your attention once you've built up a solid foundation. So for example, I started out as a freelance photographer and all the content I created was based around photography, and I was able to grow my online audience to over 300,000 followers across platforms. And since I was seen as an expert within my niche, I was then able to monetize that attention by offering photography services, creating photography courses, and also selling different digital products all based around photography. With that being said though, the biggest con about the traditional way of niching down is that it can become difficult for you to create content based around different topics. And this can sometimes lead to creator burnout because at times it may feel like you can't create the content that you want. And that brings us to part 2 of this video, which is becoming the niche. So on platforms like Instagram and TikTok, content is now being served based on our likes and interests and not just from the people we follow. And the main reason these interest-based algorithms are working so well is because if you take a look at the human mind, you'll see that people are not one-dimensional. So for example, I enjoy content creation, I'm also into personal development, and I like fitness. And when I scroll through my social media feeds, I see content from all of these different niches. So rather than creating content on just one interest, if you can mix 3 to 4 different interests together in an engaging way, you'll be able to connect with a broader audience. This will not only help with your growth, but also helps you stand out from all the other creators who only talk about one topic. And some creators who are pioneering this anti-niche are people like Dan Koe, Tom Noski, and Zach Pogrub. I highly recommend checking out these creators to get a better idea on how you can blend your interests together. But with that said, a framework I like to follow when blending my interests together is to create content for my past self. So for example, I create content that would have helped my past self avoid the many mistakes and pitfalls that I faced. I also create content about what I'm currently learning and experiencing. And if you want to see some examples of this style of content that I've personally created, you can download my free ebook that covers everything we're talking about in this video, plus so much more when it comes to building, growing, and monetizing your personal brand as a content creator. You can download this free ebook by clicking the top link in the description below this video. But when you create content for a past version of yourself, there is nobody who understands their needs, wants, and desires better than you. On top of that, most people prefer to learn from people who are just a few steps ahead of them because the information is more relatable. So for example, even though Jeff Bezos is one of the top businessmen on the planet, he's so far ahead in his career that most of the information he'd share would probably be too advanced for my current situation. Whereas if I learn from someone who has recently solved a problem that I'm facing in my business, the information they share will be a lot more useful and relevant. So now at this point, you might be starting to rethink the idea of having to narrow down your niche. And you may be starting to see the benefits of sharing your interests and becoming the niche. However, you may be feeling like you haven't achieved anything specific, you have no interest that could benefit others, or you're unsure on how to make your life lessons or experiences valuable to other people. And well, this is where I want to introduce you to the Bridge the Gap framework. And basically, this is where you want to list out all of your accomplishments from the last 1 to 3 years. So you want to ask yourself questions like, what new skills have you learned? What goals have you achieved? What problems or obstacles have you overcome? And what regrets or mistakes have you made? Once you've answered these questions, you now want to bridge the gap between your current self and yourself from 1 to 3 years ago. So basically, you want to create a detailed list of all the questions you just answered. So for example, list out all the steps you took to learn your new skills. List out everything you did to achieve the goals you achieved. And list out everything you did to overcome all your different problems and obstacles. By the end of this exercise, you should have a library full of content ideas because everything here is advice your past self would have loved to know. And again, I have a template inside of my free ebook with more questions to answer and more directions on how to get even more clarity on the types of content you should create. So if you're interested, click the top link in the description to download this ebook for free. But with that being said, if you want to learn how I gained over 90,000 followers in just 30 days, check out this video here.